UEFA Champions League is the biggest club football match, the biggest club football competition in the world today, and I'd say honestly it ranks up there with the World Cup in terms of people that go and watch it and people that want to win it, with of course the World Cup being better, but I digress. There are of course a lot of famous players who were never able to win, and a lot of heartbreak for the teams that ultimately go on to lose such a prestigious competition. The FA Cup is personally one of my favorite competitions. I have a lot of DVDs that show a lot of the black and white games. Also shows the Stanley Matthews final way back in the early 1950s, all the way from the games underneath the Twin Towers of Old Wembley to the new games underneath the arch at the new Wembley, where teams like Leicester won their first FA Cup. And of course there's a lot of cup sets, as it were, such as Wimbledon in the Cup and Bradford beating Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in that amazing comeback. Then you have the English League Cup, something that I've heard a lot of YouTubers over the years really like to bash and say it's not necessary anymore. I understand that all the top UEFA countries have a League Cup and that England is one of the few, but I think it's a great way to give a lot of the young players a chance to win. And there's a lot of winners like Birmingham and Swansea that you never would have thought would have won the League Cup, and they go on to do that in amazing fashion. So it got me thinking really hard about something, and I wanted to share it with everybody, and that is, has any player scored in the men's UEFA Champions League final, the men's English FA Cup final, and the men's English League Cup final while playing for the same team? I know I probably blew your mind right now, but don't worry guys, I did all the research for you so you don't have to. So here it is. There's only 3 players in the history of those 3 competitions that have gone and done that. And I know what you're thinking. What is it, Tyler? What is it that is the criteria to go ahead and set this up? Well, guys, there's a couple things. Honestly, they seem pretty obvious, but we'll go and go with it anyway. First of all, the player must have been playing for an English club. I know it seems silly and obvious like I said, but it's the number 1 criteria that that person has to meet. And then secondly, they must have scored in all 3 finals in question with that team. Again, pretty obvious. And just so everyone knows, I did go ahead and take into account pre-Champions League era, the old European Cup, just to see, you know what, maybe there's something that I missed. But no, guys, actually, it's a pretty new thing. I know the big question on your mind right now is, Tyler, who are they? Had to share it with you. But before we get into those 3 players, let's go look at some honorable mentions and players who got 2 out of the 3 in this category. First of all, Kenny Dalglish for Liverpool, the 78 European Cup and 81 League Cup final replay. Alan Kennedy for Liverpool, the 81 European Cup and 81 League Cup final. There's John Robertson for Nottingham Forest, the 80 European Cup final and the 78 League Cup final. Teddy Sheringham for Man United, the 99 FA Cup and UEFA Champions League finals. Frank Lampard for Chelsea, the 2008 UEFA Champions League and 2009 FA Cup. Wayne Rooney for Man United, 2006 League Cup final and the 2011 UEFA Champions League. Rodri for Man City, the 2020 League Cup final and 23 Champions League. Ian Rush, 3 different FA Cup finals and the 82 League Cup final. And Diego Costa, the 2015 League Cup final and 2017 FA Cup final. Now that we have that figured out, let's go ahead and start with the 3 players, and one of them is from Arsenal. Yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. There's no Arsenal player on this list. Number 1, Steven Gerrard, the 2003 League Cup final versus Manchester United. The 2005 UEFA Champions League final versus AC Milan. Then the 2006 FA Cup final versus West Ham United. Number 2 is Cristiano Ronaldo for Man United, the 2004 FA Cup final versus Millwall. The 2006 League Cup final versus Wigan Athletic. Then of course the 2008 Champions League final versus Chelsea. Our 3rd player is Didier Drogba for Chelsea, the 2005 League Cup final versus Liverpool. The 2007 FA Cup final versus Manchester United. And that night in Munich, the 2012 UEFA Champions League final versus Bayern Munich. Join me next time, guys, when we go over FA Cup final records, that may never be broken. Until next time, guys, it was great. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.